Today we are going to study chapter number 4 of SS. The name of the chapter is Early States of Political System in India. Now what is early? Early means near the beginning. Nowadays we know political system in India that we have democracy. But in this chapter we are going to study about the early states, that means in beginning, how this political system works in the ancient era. Okay, so let's move to the chapter. We get information about the political system. Political system means we relate political system with the government, that means to govern, how to rule, and institutions from the Vedas, epics and Buddhist texts. Now what are Vedas? You know about the 4 Vedas. What are the 4 Vedas? Rig Veda, Samveda, Yajurveda and the Atharvaveda. These are the 4 Vedas which gives us information about the political system and the institutions of the early period. And epics. Epics means long poems. Authors or writers wrote poems on the particular era or on the current affairs, that are the epics. And Buddhist text, because in that period Buddhist religion was grown up, so they wrote many scripts or texts that give information about the political system and institutions of that period. In the Rigvedic period or Vedic period, the form of statehood was similar to that of Kabilai rule. Now it is the Rigvedic period or Vedic period. That means we are talking about Rig Vedas or the Vedic period when the Vedas are existed. Okay. So the form of statehood was similar to that of Kabilai rule. Kabilai itself is like a, that you know, yeah, you can heard about Kabila. Yeah. In Kabila what happens? One strong person rules over the group of people. So like that only statehood was similar to, in Rigvedic period or Vedic period also like that, a person who was elected by the people, a strong person who was elected by the people rule over them. Okay. Now its head was called Rajanya, who was to be elected. As I told that the person was elected and that person is ruling over the group and he is called Rajanya. Then political organizations like Sabha and Samiti existed. Now we have democracy and we have parliament and we have Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, like that. Political organizations were there at that time. They are called Sabha and Samiti. Okay. Now this community was also called Vish. Afterwards, different types of political systems were implemented in India. So next is, how's the leader selected in the present age of India? Now you know that at the present how we elect our government, how we elect our leaders. Because you know that the person who is above the age of 18 can have the right to vote, and the people is elected for the elected the leader, and that leaders together form a government. Okay. Now we have, there are 2 types of government, state government and union government in the present time. State governments directly related to the central government, that is union government. That means all states of India are connected with each other and the whole country is ruling from the one capital, that is New Delhi. You know this. Okay. And what is our process to form this government? Our process is election process, that we elect, people elect our representatives and then they form a government. Okay. Now next is Janpada. Now about 1000 BC, the earlier states of different clans were established in Punjab and the Ganges river area. These were called Janpada. Now, what do you mean by clan? Clan means a large family, or we can say a group of people with a strong common interest, or in other words, a close-knit group of interrelated families. These are called clans. So, many families, when the families move ahead and started living together, so that was established in Punjab at the first and the banks of the river Ganga. And these group of people who lived together called Janpad. Janpad was the area or place of a person's habitat. The word Janpad is used in the sense of state. Janpad was a state system that was very unique from the clan society of Rigvedic age. Now, in Rigvedic age and the Janpad, both have difference. Janpad means when the group of people lives together and they all have the same interest. Okay, so these were called Janpad. It includes the states of different groups like Kuru and Panchal. Next is Mahajanpad. Around 6th century, about 16 Mahajanpadas have been found in India. Some of these Mahajanpadas were republics while some were monarchy type of states. These Mahajanpadas are outlined in the following table. Now, you look in your textbook, there is a table given that at that time, that means around 6th century, there were 16 Mahajanpadas in India. Like first you see Aruni, whose capital is Champa, and its location is East Bihar. The first Mahajanpada was Anga. Its capital was Champa and its current location is East Bihar. Next is Vaji. Its capital is Vaishali and its current location is North Bihar. Then Mala, capital is Kushinara and current location area near Gorakhpur, that is Uttar Pradesh. Kashi, its capital is Varanasi, in Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. Magad. Magad was one of the strongest tribe, we can say tribe at that time. Girivraj Rajgir, its capital, and now its current location is South Bihar. Kosal, its capital is Shrivasti, Ayodhya, now in Awadh, Uttar Pradesh. You heard the name Ayodhya recently very much. Yeah, your Ram Mandir is there. Next, Vatsa. Its capital is Kaushambi and current location areas near Prayagraj. Chedi. Capital is Suktimati and the current location is region between Yamuna and Narmada. Then Panchal. Capital is Ahichhatra or Kampilia. Now is Badayu, area near Bareilly. Then Sursen. Capital is Mathura, region near Mathura, Uttar Pradesh. Kuru. Indraprastha is capital, region near Delhi and Meerut. Asmaka, capital is Podanya on the bank of Godavari river. Then Avanti, capital is Ujjaini, current location is region of Malwa. Matsya, Capital is Viratnagar. Current location near Jaipur, Rajasthan. Gandhar, Takshashila is the capital and current location is near Peshawar and Rawalpindi. Kamboj, capital is Lajpur and current location is region near southwest Kashmir. So all these were the 16 Mahajanpadas that were found in India at that time. That means in the era of 6th century. Now according to the book Anguttara Nikaya written in Pali language, there were 16 Mahajanpadas in post-Vedic period. Some of the important tribes are shown in the map. So now you see the map in your book that there were 16 Mahajanpadas in post-Vedic period and it is written in Anguttara Nikaya book, which is written in Pali language. The most important Mahajanpadas are Gandhar, Vatsa, Magadha. All these are main. Magadha was the strongest Mahajanpada at that time. Okay. So now we move ahead. Now we move to monarchy system. Monarchy state system. So the state in which the king was chief was called monarchy. That means one person ruled over the group of people. Among the Mahajanpadas of this time, there was competition for power which mainly consisted of 4 powerful states, Magad, Kausal, Vatsa, Avanti, in which Magad eventually became famous as a powerful state. As I told you before also that Magad was the most powerful state at that era. And the monarchy system, now you know the monarchy system, that in monarchy system one king was there and he ruled over the group of people. Now Magadha at that time of Buddha, in monarchy state system, Magadha became power Mahajanpada, very powerful. It was very strongest at that time. 3 powerful dynasties rule over Magadha who make it strong. Okay, so the first is Haryanka dynasty. The founder of this dynasty was Bimbisar and its headquarter was Magadha, or we can say Rajgarh, at that time Girivraj, which was situated on the banks of Ganga river. Then after him, his son Ajatshatru. After Bimbisar, his son Ajatshatru came to power and made Patliputra as his capital. Then he fought a war with Vaji Union and defeated Licchavis. In this way, he extended the rule of Magadha. So, the first dynasty was Haryanka. The founder was Bimbisar, and afterwards his putra Ajatshatru extended the boundaries of Magadha and he fought with Vaji Union and defeated Licchavis. Okay. Next is Nag dynasty, which came to power after Haryanka dynasty, which includes king named Shishunaga who was associated with Buddha religion. Shishunaga was the believer of Buddha. Okay, and this dynasty came after the Haryanka dynasty. Next is Nand dynasty. Nand dynasty established by Mahapadmanand was most powerful. Mahapadmanand is considered to be the first Indian emperor. During his time, Magad had become the most powerful state of India. At the time of Alexander's invasion on India, Magad was ruled by a king named Dhananand or Nand dynasty. So the third dynasty who ruled on Magadha was the Nand dynasty, and it was established by Mahapadmanand, who was most powerful man, and he is also considered as the first Indian emperor. That means he ruled all over the India. And during his time, Magad was the most powerful state of India. And when the Alexander came in India, Magad was the ruling power, and it was ruled by the king Dhananand or Nand dynasty. Okay. Now we move forward to the republic. Now after the monarchy system, the next is republic. A republic is a state directly or indirectly ruled by a head who is elected by people. The republic was a significant feature of the ancient state and system of governance. The common meaning Gana is mass. A state run by more than one member can be called a republic. At this time, there were some states in which the king was chosen by the people. Such a state was called republic. So as we know, republic means, in republic, the head was elected by the common people. So at that time also, elected people will form government, and the group of people which we say Gana, that means mass, that means group, mass means group. And a state run by more than one member can be called a republic. In republic, what happens? There are many members instead of one king. Okay. Now you know, at present also our government has so many MLAs, MPs, MLAs, that they can communicate with each other to pass any law, so that we can take benefit of that law. So like similarly, at that time also, when any state who was ruled by more than one member is called republic. Okay. So at this time, there were some states in which the king was chosen by the people, and that states are called republic. Now there were republics of Lichavi of Vaishali, Shakyas of Kapilvastu, Videha of Mithila, Mala of Kushinara, etc. There were many republics at that time, and these are the some examples: Lichavi of Vaishali, Shakyas of Kapilvastu, Videha of Mithila, Mala of Kushinara, etc., etc. And in such a system of affairs, each member was given the status of king. That means all the people who are the elected to form a government, all has the status of king. Not only one king was there, but all the leaders was called king. Gana word was used for group of many members, as I told you. Gana means organization or group, and Sangha means organization or assembly, like you know in Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Okay. Now we move ahead to Vaishali Vaji state. Now Vaishali Vaji state is a monarchy wished to increase their power and empire by occupying the surrounding territories. Seeing this, Lichavi, Vaji, Gyatuk, Videha, Shakya, Mala, etc. 8 or 9 tribes who established the union state for their protection was known as Vaji state. Now what happens? At that time, some are republic and some are monarchy. Okay, in that era. So when the monarchy wishes to increase their power and increase their boundaries by fighting or by war, so by seeing this, these 8 or 9 tribes like Lichavi, Vaji, Gyatuk, Videha, Shakya, Mala all came together and established a union state. Means they all get together for their protection, and they make the whole one state, which was known as Vaji state. And Vaishali was the capital of Lichavis, was the main center of that union state, and thus it was named Republic of Vaishali. The Vaishali is the capital of Lichavis, And this Vaji state also has the Vaishali as a main center of union state. Means all the administration work done from this Vaishali. So that's why it have the name Republic of Vaishali. Okay. Now the state administration of the Republic was governed by the Sabha, because of which it was called Republic. In Republic, all the powers of house rested in hands of the members. All the members sat in Sabha and all affairs were passed in the house by vote or unanimity. The place where meeting was held was called sanctum. Now the state administration of the Republic was governed by Sabha. Similarly, like present days, we have Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, that if we have to pass any law, that means we have to clear all the processes. So at that time also the administration was taken care by this Sabha, and all the members of the this republic have the power to make any law, and all the members sit together in Sabha and then they discuss about the affairs, and then they pass the law or any rule for the community or their group or their state by the voting system, means majority. The majority favors the affair, then it wins, like this. Okay. Then the place where meeting was held, where the meeting was held, that place was called sanctum. Now the elderly as well as youth were selected as the members of the state assembly. Now in Republic, in state assembly, it was not compulsory that only elderly took part in that. Even youth also took part in the state assembly. The Republicans elected their president for state administration, who was chosen by elections. Similarly, as nowadays, at that time also, president of the Republicans was elected by elections. That means people choose the members and then members choose their president. In the Republic, each member was considered as the king, and at that time each member was the king. Republics had their own councils in which many important issues like administration, defense, war, treaty, etc. were discussed and then decided. Similarly, nowadays also like this, we have different departments for the different issues. Like that, in republics also different departments for different issues, and they discuss with each other and then they decided what to do and what to not. Any member could enjoy membership for a fixed time only. Nowadays, you know that we have a 5 years planning government, that if anyone comes in ruling party, they have 5 years to rule. So like that, at that time also, every member have the fixed time to enjoy their membership. An exclusive committee assisted the president of the republic in the administration of the state, and the president elected by the exclusive committee. So next is social life and state administration of republic states. So according to archaeologists, people of this time lived in simple houses. They were associated with pastoral activities. At this time, crops like wheat, rice, barley, sugarcane, sesame, mustard, cereals were grown. People might have been using clay vessels specially because archaeologists have found some of these vessels. Some of the pottery found at this time had drawings on them. These utensils were painted by grey in color. At this time, ruler of every state did every possible thing for the defense of his state. So that means, according to the archaeologists, when the excavation takes place, an archaeologist got that people of this time lives very simple life. They were associated with pastoral activities also, and agriculture and cattle rearing develops in this era, because archaeologists found clay vessels here, which shows the simple life of that era. Even they found the pottery, and on that pottery they found drawings, different type of drawings, and gray color used on that drawings to color them. So all these things show that the life of that era was very simple, and at that time ruler of every state put efforts for the defense of the state at his level best. So they are very strong to protect themselves, and they always do one or another thing for the defense of their state. For this reason, strong and high forts were built around the state capital. Plenty of stones and bricks were used in it. Some of the kings used to build large, tall, and magnificent walls around their kingdom to showcase their power and prosperity. The brick wall from Prayagraj dates back to around 2500 years ago. So we can say that forts with high walls might have been constructed at this time. So for this reason, to protect themselves, defend themselves, they used to build very strong and high forts in the around the capital, their state capital. They used plenty of stones and bricks to construct these forts. Some of the kings also used build large, tall, and magnificent walls, because it shows the power of the king and it shows the prosperity of that state. The brick wall from Prayagraj dates back to around, that means archaeologists found that the brick wall which they found the brick wall from Prayagraj. So that is the almost 2500 years ago. That brick wall was made 25 years ago. So by this they came to know that this era has the built high walls. They might have been constructed this time, these forts and tall buildings and all these things built in this era. All the Mahajanpadas of this time needed a large army and a Prayagraj, which is present at Allahabad, strong fort for their defense. People were taxed to meet this need. Farmers used to give sixth part of their yield to the treasury. The artisans used to work for the state for one day in a month. Cattle rearers gave cattle as a part of tax. The merchants used to pay on sale of goods. During the period of Mahajanpada, agriculture started to improve due to iron tools. As I already told you that in this era, agriculture and cattle rearing both are developed very much due to new techniques of iron tools. Also, these Mahajanpadas needed some security or finance or some taxes to take care of the army for defending themselves from the others, because in this era some monarchies are vicious. Some monarchy are very much fond of increase their boundaries at that time. So it is the prior need to defend themselves. So that's why people pay taxes. At the present day we also pay tax to government. Similarly, at that time people pay taxes, as farmer used to pay the sixth part of their yield. How much farmer grows in that time in the field, the sixth part of that they have to pay to the government or as a treasury. Artisans are not paying in money or anything. They used to pay in the form of work. That means they do one day some work for the state. Then cattle rearers are also paying cattle as a tax. Okay, so similarly present day we are also paying tax, but we are paying in the form of money. And at that time, in that era, instead of money, people used to paying tax like this. The farmer used to pay like the yield of the sixth part of the yield of their grown crop. Then artisans used to give the help, or we can say that they used to what we can say their work, they are contributing their work to the state. Okay, cattle rears give their cattle as a part of tax like this. So like this, all Mahajanpadas needed a large army, and they also take care of that army to defend themselves. Now next, moving forward, you must know this, that this era is also known as Buddhist era, because in this era only Swami Mahatma Gautam Buddha was born. So that is why this era is called Buddhist era. Mahavir Swami and Gautam Buddha both wandered in these republics as pedestrians. Buddhist and Jain scriptures give us information about the republics. So these scriptures, Buddhist and Jain scriptures, gives a lot of information about this era to us. Okay. So at the other places, if we see the other places in the world, the way in which the cities of Sparta, Athens, Rome, Greece, etc. are described as democratic states, in the same way republics of ancient India can be represented as democratic states. So, like not only in India, but Sparta, Athens, Rome, Greece, etc., all these are described as democratic states of that era. Okay. So I'll conclude here the chapter. If you have any query, then note down your queries in your notebook and resolve your doubts in our interactive query session. We will meet soon again with our next chapter. Till then, take care. Bye bye.